So hello all, welcome back. So this is the fifth video of Java. So we will work on today like instance initialization block, then we will work on the abstract and encapsulation, and also in the previous video we have worked on the basic of the Java and basic of the OOPS concept. So today's topic will be instance initialization block, then static keyword, then abstraction, and then we will work on the interface. After that, we will start with the string and threading. These all things we will go on. So let's start with the instance initialization block. So this is the previous class code. So let me just modify this one. Okay. So what does this mean by the instance initialization block? So basically it is used to initialize the instance data member. It runs each time when the object of the class will be created. Means you must be thinking about the constructor. Yes, constructor is also same that it will be executed whenever you will create the object of that class. Okay, so it is much more similar to the constructor, but you can use along with the constructor as well. Okay, so let me create a class like there is a class A, for example. Okay, so now this class for that have a constructor like this one. This class have a constructor and like there is a method like this out, and it is saying that I am inside constructor of class A. Okay, so whenever I will create the object of my A class, this constructor will be called and this code will be executed. Okay, so suppose that public stack void main string arguments. Okay, so as soon I will create the object of this class by using new operator, what will happen? My constructor will be called and code will be executed. It's the concept of, or you can say it's the beauty of constructor. Okay, now then how the instance initialization block will work? Basically it will work, you just need to add a small amount of code just below of your constructor. For example, that if I will write here something inside this braces, okay, I will say that sys out control space I am inside instance initialization block. So you will see that it will get executed. We don't have any method, we don't need to call anything, so it will work very similar to object. And also if you see the output, okay, if you see the output, then you will find one more thing, that the code of the instance initialization block is executed first. Okay, means first it will get executed, after that the code of constructor will get executed. So it is the main thing that a you can say a constructor has, or you can say instance initialization block has. For example, suppose that there is a data member. Okay, suppose that there is a data member like int x we have. Okay, now in instance initialization block we can initiate the value of x is equal to 10 because it will get executed before this. Okay, so we can print here as this well that value of x is okay. So as I told you that first this block will get executed, the value of x will become 10, then it will be printed here. So in this way we use the benefits of the instance initialization block. Okay, so it is a very good concept that we can use this feature of instance initialization block. Only 2 points you need to remember, that whatever written in the instance initialization block will be executed first, then your constructor code will be executed. Okay, now let's move on the some other thing like a static keyword. Okay, so we all know that with the use of static keyword we can call the method without creating the object. So basically what is happening here, we are just saving the memory. So static keyword in Java basically used to memory management. Okay, we can apply the static keyword with variable, with method, with block, with nested blocks or nested classes. Okay, so let me show you some example of the static keyword. Okay, so suppose that there is a class. I will just modify this one. So now we are discussing about the static keyword. So suppose that we have some data like int age is equal to 30. Okay, now suppose that I have second thing like string name is equal to general. Okay, now we have one more thing like static string gender is equal to male. Okay, so now I have a static parameter here, means static variable here. So I am just giving an example of the static variable, then we will cover the example of the static method. Now suppose that this class have a constructor, means we have a constructor like this one. Okay, and it will accept two argument like int age comma int string name. Okay, so we can say that whatever age is here, let me make it little bit different. Ag, whatever age is here, it will become equal to ag. Okay, and whatever name is here, it will become whatever you will pass in your constructor from here. But this time you do not need to pass the third parameter because it is static. We can call them directly. Okay, so suppose that we have one more method like public void, and you can say record record. Okay, then let's move this. Okay, and we will see that this out control space, and we are just printing all the things like your details are added. Okay, then we are saying that name, let me make it more easy, name, then name. Okay, first pass the two parameters like uh, the first you it will accept the age as integer, then second it will accept the name as a general. So instead of giving here the value, I am passing using now some parameter. Okay, so this. Okay, so inside that I will print all the details like a name, then plus you can say age, then plus, and then final thing is gender. Okay, so you can see that, for example, there is some scenario that your third value will not be changed in many of the cases. Okay, so you can make this value as a static value. Okay, so it can be accessed without any furthermore object calling the method calling dot. We will call the method record. Okay, now let me run this one. You will see that we are passing only two parameters like the age and name, and we are just directly calling our third parameter and it will be called because we have created it as static. Okay, let me run this one. This has been printed. Okay, now again one more thing you can do. Dot. One more thing I want to show you, that if something is static variable, you can directly call them by class name and then that variable. Suppose that you have created your gender field as a static, so you can call them without any object. We don't need any object, so I will directly hit the class name, then you will see the gender here. So it will directly give me the value of this one. Okay, so this is the main user of static keyword with the variable. I will run this one. You can see, to calling this value, to access this value, I have not used any object. I have just used the class name, then that variable name. Okay, now let's discuss about the static method. As I told you that static method means we can call the method without creating any object. For example, that let me remove these all things. There is a class. Now this static method you will use too much in your programming. Okay, in your Selenium programming. So suppose that there is a class. Now it has a method like static public static void g. Okay, now inside that there is a method like without control space, and then you can say I am inside g. Okay, and first let me run this one. Remove this one. So look, we do not need to create the object. Okay, we just need to class name dot method name, and you will see that all the code will get executed. Okay, so this is the main benefit of the static keyword. Now one more example let me take. Suppose that there is a one more class like yeah. Suppose that there is a one more class like QA automation, and it is its constructor. Now let me create a static method public static void t. Suppose that there is a method t and it have a without control space I am inside method t of class QA. Okay, so now this time if it is still in another class, then you need to do again, just go to the class name dot this one. Okay, so this time there should not be any kind of confusion whether you have written the code inside this one, whether you have written the code outside of the class, whether you have written the code in the outside of the package. Then directly you can access that static method, static variable by directly the class name, then that static method. In the case of the package, you have to import the package as well. Okay, we will discuss much more about the package further on. So this is the main benefit of static keyword. Okay, so in this way you can just call your static block. Now let's move on the much more important topic, which is abstract class. Okay, so let me refresh first of all. Okay, so let me remove this one. Now we will work on the abstract. Okay, let me start with the abstraction. Okay, so Let me remove this one. Suppose that we have a class and it have a main method. Okay. So abstraction, what does this mean by the abstraction? If a class contain any abstract method, then class will be declared as a abstract class. Okay. An abstract class is never instantiated. It used to provide the abstraction, although it never provide the 100% abstraction, or you can also say that it does not provide the 100% abstraction because it can also have the concrete methods or non-abstract methods. Okay, so let me give you some example. Suppose that I have created a class. Again, I have created a class A. Now it have a some abstract method like public, void, and suppose that there is sum. There is a method. Okay. Now you will see there is an error. What is error? It will say that either you have to remove the abstract or you have to convert your class as a abstract class. Okay. So that means if any member is having the abstract keyword, then class will be declared as a abstract class. So what is the benefit of having this abstract class? So let me give you a very good example. For example, suppose that we have a class like Reserve Bank of India. Okay. So in the Reserve Bank of RBI provide you certain rules that everyone have to follow. Means every child bank have to follow their RBI rule. But there is some special rule that they can change as per their budget. Okay, suppose that there is a method like abstract public void interest rate. Okay, so as we know that the interest rate in different bank is different. Okay, means every bank have a different interest rate based on their budget, based on their collection. Okay, so suppose that here we will accept the, you can say, double amount. Give me 1 minute. Okay, so today we will discuss about the abstract further on. So suppose that there is a class like RBI, Reserve Bank of India. So it has some rules that every bank can implement them as per their budget or requirement. Suppose that the you can say the interest rate for different banks, they have the different interest rate, but there will be some certain rules that will be unique for everyone. Okay, so suppose that this is some other rule like the public wide fixed rule. Okay, there is certain fixed rule that every bank have to adopt, like without without control space Aadhaar card is mandatory. So when you are getting such kind of scenario where you have to keep some rule common for everyone and some rules which can be changed by their own requirement. Okay, but the naming convention should be same. Means suppose that interest rate, that naming convention should be same for every bank. Okay, so when this kind of scenario will occur, then you have to use the abstract class. Means you can give you can give some method with the body and some method only with the declaration or with the naming convention. So whenever any other class will extend this abstract class, they have to implement the methods. Okay, let me extend this class. This extend, suppose that this is a extends this class, extend RBI class. Okay, I have extended the RBI class. Now it will give me compile time error and it will say me that you have to implement the you can say the unimplemented method, means abstract method I have to implement. Okay, that as I told you that add unimplemented method. As I will click this one, this will be printed. Okay, so I will say that without control space uh, the IR is amount into 10. Okay, so now I will just simply create the object of my class and I will express the method. Let me create some other class like suppose that there is a class of ICICI Bank. Okay, now inside that class it is extending the RBI class. Now it has to follow some method like this one. Okay, means suppose that this is a RBI class which have some fixed method that you have to follow this rule, and also it have some variable rule like a flexible rule that you can change as per your need. So suppose that there is a ICICI Bank which is just following this one. Now how to execute this one? So first of all we will create the object of our ICICI Bank class. Okay, by using this object I will call the method IR and I will give here the amount like 200.10. Okay, and also by using this one I can call the method of fixed rate. Okay, so this is the basically use of abstract method. Okay, that how you will implement the abstract method when there is a condition that first of all you have to follow some pattern, means where you have to give the same name for each class. Suppose that there is one more class like a SBI class. Okay, like there is a SBI class, there is SBI bank and they are providing the interest of rupees 8. Okay, so when you have such kind of scenario, then you have to use the abstraction. Okay, let me create the object. Okay, so we have one main class, means one parent class, which have some abstract method and also some non-abstract method, also known as the concrete method. Some other classes which are extending that abstract method, and whenever any class will extend the abstract method, he have to create the body of the method which is has been declared, means this one. So they will create the body of this method, and by using the object of that class, we can express the different methods of the different classes. Let me run this one. You will see that what the output will become. Okay, so it is the basically use of your abstraction. Now let's work on the interface. So I will remove these all things and I will write the code for interface. So in the previous tutorial, if you have seen the video of my previous tutorial where I have discussed about the inheritance, then I have described that multiple inheritance is not, although multi-level of inheritance is allowed. Okay, so what does this mean that multiple inheritance is allowed or multiple or not allowed? Okay, so when we need 100% abstraction, then we used to follow the concept of interface. Okay, so first understand what is the interface. Let's follow the concept of the interface. So first of all, I will create a how interface will be created. You have to just write the interface and then the name of that interface. You can give any name, but it is very similar to the class, but they are not the class because they don't have the object for instance. I will describe these all things. Okay, and also the method which is inside it, like we are creating a method like public double area. So all the methods are by default. All the methods are by default the abstract method. So you don't need to write the abstract keyword here. Okay, whether you are writing the abstract keyword, whether you are not writing abstract keyword, it does not matter in the interface because by default it will write abstract. Okay, so all the methods inside the abstract will be a abstract method. So let's discuss about first of all what is the interface. I will open my website. Like, let's discuss about first of all let's understand what is the interface, then we will work on the example. So look, an interface is a collection of the abstract methods a class implements an interface, thereby inheriting the abstract methods of the interface. An interface is not a class, always remember it's not a class, although it is very similar to the class. Writing is interface is similar to the writing a class, but there are two different concepts. A class describes the attribute and behavior of an object. An interface contains behavior that a class implements. Unless the class is that implements the interface is abstract, all the methods of the interface will be defined in the class. So, how an interface is similar to the class, how an interface is different from the class. So, these all things we must know. An interface is similar to the class, but these always. Like an interface can contain any number of the methods. As in the class, we can create any number of the methods. We are not limited to create some certain method. Also, an interface is written in a file with a .java extension. It is always remember with the name of the interface. Okay, as we used to do in the Java, that the file will be saved with the .java extension. Okay, the bytecode of the interface appear in a .class file. As I told you in my first tutorial that first of all your source file will be compiled and it will be converted into .class file. Okay, so it is again same to the class interface is also appear the bytecode in the .class file. Okay, interface appear in a package and their corresponding bytecode file must be directly structured that matches the package name. So by these all things, it is a very similar to a class. But how it is not similar to a class? So in a class, you can create the object, you can instantiate the class, but interface you cannot. And a class can have the constructor, but interface cannot have the constructor. A class can have any kind of method, but interface have only the abstract method. Okay. An interface cannot contain instance fields. The only fields appear in a stack must be declared both static and final. Okay. Also, you cannot use the extend method because it's here we are not using the inheritance. We can use only the implement. Okay. Also, the concept of the interface where we cannot achieve the multiple interface we can achieve here means we can use the multiple inherit interface. Okay. Now, interface is a pure abstract class. They are systematically similar to a classes, but you cannot create instance of an interface and their methods are declared without any body. Interface is used to achieve the complete abstraction in Java. I think that after reading these all lines, you are much more clear about the interface. Let me remind you again that interface, you cannot create an object of your interface. You cannot create the constructor of your interface. You cannot create the body of your interface method. You just need to declare them and you can use them as per your need. So for example, suppose we have, you can say some, suppose that we have some variable, flag double. it is a data type. I can also take the integer, but here we will use the decimal value. So I will prefer with the double and float. Okay, suppose that there is an interface. Okay, it have two things. First, there is a variable, and then we have a method. Now, I will create a class which will implement the interface. Okay, so let's make it much more easy instead of doing some calculation. Suppose that it have a method like public void sum. Okay, there is a method like public void sum. What it will do? It will take two parameter int a comma int b. Okay, now there is a class addition. Sorry, this is class. Suppose there is a class addition which implements this math method. Okay, implement this math interface. So we have to create the body of this interface, means we have to add the unimplemented method. Okay, so suppose that the body is saying that sys out control space the sum is okay. It's okay. There is an interface. We have created a class. The class has implemented the interface, and then we have created the body of the interface. Now again, suppose that there is also a class like class subtraction. Okay. Now again, it implements match. So again, it have to create unimplemented method, and we will create the body of this method. Okay, the difference is minus b. Okay, now I will create the object of my classes and we will execute the method. Suppose that it is addition class, we have the object like new addition, this one, and we can use by using this, we can use the method of sum. We will pass to value like 20, 10. Again, for second class, we will create the object of this class and we will call the method of subtraction dot 20, 10. Okay, no problem. We are having an interface, we are having the different classes, we are implementing the interface, we are creating the body of the method which is declared inside the interface according to our need, and then we are creating the object and we are calling them one by one. Okay, so some and difference has been appeared. Now suppose you have one more interface like the area interface. Area interface, and also it have some method like multiplication. Okay, so as I told you that in a multi-level or multiple inheritance you cannot have two you cannot apply multiple inheritance, but here you can do. So suppose that you want to use both the things, means you want to use both the interface in a single class, you can achieve this one. Just put comma here and type here area, this one. Okay, now you can add the this method. So it will become this out control space the multiplication is b. Okay, so I will say that ad dot method multiplication 20 comma instance. So you can say that multiple inheritance is not allowed, but multiple interface is allowed. Okay, you can see that we can apply the multiple interface here. You just need to put, suppose that you have multiple interface in your class, so uh, you can add them a single class by using the comma. But in case of interface inheritance where we have used the extend keyword, you have seen that we cannot add two inheritance in a single class. So this is the main difference that I have covered today. So this is the enough for today, and tomorrow we will start with the strings and then we will work on the threading. These all things we will work. So it's enough for today. If anybody have any doubt and concern, please feel free to ask me.